When you look for an app, you really first want to consider what you want, not what this app can do. I really want there to be a better mobile app. It basically is useless for me, and I have access to both of their betas. I will not consider this a second brain app at all. What I recommend, that a lot of their users tell them they discovered through my videos. So I will tell you exactly what I use these two apps for. Good morning, guys. Today we're back with a very serious topic and an answer to a question that I get almost every other day, which is capacities versus craft. I thought it was time to finally film a definitive video to answer your questions whether to use capacities or craft. So let's get into it. First of all, we're gonna get some basics down. What is capacities? What is craft? If you clicked on this video, you're likely a note-taking app enthusiast like I am. You likely tried both. You're somehow struggling to pick between the two, which I do understand because
I am a serial note-taker app jumper.
I love trying out different apps. That's kind of my whole thing and my hobby. What are these two apps? So first, craft. I talked about it a lot in recent days. It's my daily notebook, my daily notes, my tasks manager, my diary, and also my brainstorming note. It is very intuitive to use. It has a very nice layout. I would say it's a nice combination of most of the Apple note-taking apps like Apple Notes, Freeform, and Reminders. That's a nice way to put it. And then Capacities is a second-brain app, which is object-based. So it's kind of like databases in Notion where you can have a bunch of properties, you can link notes between each other, and then you can view all the notes in a graph. And these two apps are both really strong contenders if you're looking for a note-taking app as your second brain. And what a second brain is an app where you store your knowledge, mainly long-term notes that you would want for reference for a long time. So either you have some interest that you like taking notes on, or you're just someone who likes to connect notes and see where that might bring you and make discoveries through connections of your notes. This is a very niche topic, and if you only take notes for like school or work, that might not be relevant to you because note-taking for a second brain is a very niche topic. But if you're into it, let's just keep listening. And if you also want to find out which one out of capacities or craft is better for you, keep watching. I did make some notes, so I will be referencing my laptop over here. And also plug, on my table here are the matcha bowl that my sister made and also a mug that my sister made that I am drinking a genmaicha latte out of. So let's get started on some basic information and a comparison between the two apps. First of all, in terms of devices, Capacities is available on all major platforms. So that includes iOS, Mac, Windows, Android, Linux, web app, whatever you can think of. And it is really convenient because you can send all of your notes regardless of what device you're using. And Craft is not yet available on Android, but they are working hard to make that happen. But if you want something that works exactly now, you can only use the web app on Android. As for the price, both of them do offer a free plan, but they also obviously have a paid plan. And these are the prices, and they differ a little bit in terms of feature as well. So we'll have to go on to see if these prices are worth it. And then thirdly, a very important feature when it comes to note-taking apps is offline mode. And offline mode is available for both apps, so you don't have to worry about your notes taking a very long time to load.
Notion. Offline mode is coming to Notion too.
Offline mode, really good, really nice, no loading time, you can instantly connect your notes. Nice. And then a fourth one, really relevant to today's day and age, is AI. And Capacities does have an online connection to ChatGPT, and you can also connect your own API keys if you're into that. And it does have more interactions and functionalities compared to Craft. So you can auto apply tags. It will analyze your note and it will apply a tag for you. And you can also ask the chat to have an interaction with your database of notes. As for Craft is on device AI. So even if you're not connected to the internet, you can access the AI. And it is mainly for writing tools, but I think they're making some advancements on the integration of AI as well in the future. And I really like that the AI is on device, so you don't even need internet. So those are the basic information. And if there are already some deal breakers for you in terms of choosing Capacities or Craft, great. You can already make your decision. But if you haven't, let's go on to the next level, which are some structural differences. So I have taken a look at the features of these two apps and taken a look at how structurally they differ, how they're built different, how the user flow is intended for someone to use, and I have listed some similarities and difference. So you can take a look if there are some deal breakers for you, if there are some non-negotiables for you. So firstly, in terms of structure, Capacities is object-based. So each new page that you create will be an object. It will have a list of properties that you can customize. You can link them between each other. As for Craft, it is page-based. So you can create a page, but the page will not have a default property. But they do have a newish feature that's kind of like a database where you can customize the properties, but that is really new and still in development. So the features are really limited, so I wouldn't call Craft an object-based app yet. Secondly, the ability to edit with blocks. This is really important. Similar to Notion, every single enter key you hit, you create a new block, and you can have like a list, to do, highlight, quote, headings, etc. You get it. But Capacities wins slightly here, where you can reference individual blocks in different pages or even in the same page. So for example, if you had a block that's like a quote and you want to reference it in other documents or in the same page but at a lower section, you can do that. But in Craft, you can only reference other pages so far. Thirdly, we have tags. Both apps have tags, and tags is actually new to Craft. So it is really exciting. We've been waiting for tags in Craft for a really long time. So congratulations for us that have been waiting. So Capacities has the tags feature. It is really, really simple. You can tag each object. You can also create a field to put the tags in, and you can also tag a tag inline. With that logic, you can tag both an object and a block specifically, but in Craft, you can only tag the page. So whenever you tag something, when you click into the tag, you will see the whole page, not the individual block. Thirdly, backlinks. You can link different pages with double brackets or the @ symbol in both apps. This is a really important feature when it comes to note-taking apps, and it's a non-negotiable for me for sure. So luckily both have it, but Capacities does have unlinked mentions available. And then next we have calendar integration. And as you guys know, I love my calendar. I put everything on my calendar. I figure out where I am, who I am with my calendar. So it's also very important for me, for my note-taking app, to have a calendar integration, and both have calendars, so you can check out your calendar in both of these. And then next we have properties, which we have briefly mentioned. In terms of property, Capacities definitely have a more well-rounded selection, like dates, selects, multi-selects, rating, number, links, bi-directional links, etc. This is very important. And Craft does have a beginning level kind of database property selection, but it's not really well fleshed out yet. So we'll have to see how it develops. So if you're someone that really relies on the kind of property structure a lot, I wouldn't recommend Craft for that specific use. Next is kind of related, which is database views. If you use Notion, you will know what this means. So basically kind of like a table view, list view, gallery view, calendar view, etc. Capacities does have a list view, table view, gallery view, and a wall view, and it's a really nice display of everything you have in an object type. But Craft only has a table view so far, so that is really not ideal. Next, we have some features that makes Craft superior. So first, we have folders. If you prefer having a clear hierarchy in your folder structure, you like having folders within folders, and then folders within folders and page within pages, you would definitely prefer Craft because Capacities does not have that. Next, we have whiteboard feature. So if you're someone who likes making use of freeform, kind of like an infinite whiteboard, kind of like Miro, what other whiteboard apps, freeform, Craft has that and Capacities does not. If you're someone who likes using sticky notes, using arrows to make connections, using handwriting, Craft is definitely the choice for you. And then thirdly, also kind of related, is handwriting. So even though Capacities does have an app on the iPad, it does not support handwriting. So if you like to do sketches or quick jotting down of notes, you will not be able to do that in Capacities. In the next section, we have daily notes. So both of these apps have daily notes. And then next we have tasks, which is also really important for me as a daily driver. So Capacities does have to-do blocks, and you can send those to-dos to Apple Reminders or Todoist, but they do not have reminders within the app or a widget for you to check off those reminders. And Craft does have those. You can set reminders, show them on widget, delegate tasks, move to a different date, etc. And then we are going into some kind of technicalities of these two apps. First of all, we have collaboration. So Capacities really is a personal workspace. They have stated this multiple times on their website and blog that they really want to focus on personal use. So they do not have collaboration features, and Craft does have collaboration features. And in fact, you can also start your Plus plan as a family, so you can pay a lower price per person for a family plan, and you can share the same space for your notes. And secondly, we have published. So if you're someone who likes to do an online digital garden for different readers to read what you wrote about, you cannot do that with Capacities. They do not have a published property. All you can do is export your notes in different formats. But Craft does have a publish feature. They even have a little domain for you, so you can just copy and paste your link and people can visit your note. And then lastly, we have table of contents and stats. And this is a really quality of life feature that I really need in my note-taking apps. In each of the note-taking apps that I use, I always make sure that they have table of contents that reference my headings and that they have stats of my writing. Words, how long I spent on this note, how many words I typed, etc. So luckily both of these apps have those two features that I really need, so table of contents and stats. So by now, your choice should be clearer. You should have seen some features that you really like and some features that you wish the other had because it otherwise would be perfect. So let's go on and see if we can narrow this down even more. So let's go into the section of integrations. If you have a habit of taking notes, you probably have heard of Readwise because it is an app that helps you connect different surfaces and export your highlights. So it can connect to your Kobo reader, your Kindle, and you can even highlight your YouTube videos if they have a transcript, and you can save tweets on it as well. So it's kind of a connected hub of all of your highlights. And a lot of note-taking apps do have integrations with Readwise, so you can export all of your highlights from Readwise to your note-taking app to further make your annotations. So Capacities does not currently have a Readwise integration, but I think they are working on it in the future. Don't quote me on that. And Craft does have a Readwise integration. And secondly, on the integration category, we have the iOS share sheet. So as you guys know, I use an iPhone, so it is really important for me to be able to share articles or tweets or highlights straight from my phone. And both of these apps do have a share sheet where I can share certain content without leaving the current app that I'm reading on. So that is really nice. And thirdly, integration wise, we have mentioned this before, which is handwriting on tablet. Because I think I like using the iPad much more than my laptop when I'm outside because it's really much lighter and much more convenient. I really value the ability to be able to handwrite because you just retain information better, and sometimes when you make connections it will be messy and you don't necessarily type your notes in a linear fashion. So I really appreciate the ability to handwrite. As we said before, Capacities doesn't have a handwriting integration at all. Craft does have that natively built into the app. So that was the integrations. So I just rapid fired a lot of information to you guys, and hopefully I showcased this well in my screen recording as well, because it's really important for you guys to get what I'm saying. But for more of my personal opinion and my personal usage and a subjective decision on which one you should use, let's go into this last category, last section, which I called usage. So firstly, I want to talk about the defining element that makes these apps them. Capacities is an object-based app, and with that we have a lot of different properties, and that makes it really easy to sort through different objects. You can set a status, you can add different tags, you can categorize them really easily, and that really is the strong point of Capacities. And in comparison to its brothers and sisters like Logseq or Obsidian, it really has a low learning curve and little to no friction when it comes to setting your system up, because even if you wanted to switch an object type for a specific note, it is really easy because they have a built-in tool for you to do that, to connect to different properties. So that is really powerful, and that is what I really like about Capacities. And the defining element for Craft, in my opinion, is its ease of use because it has a really intuitive design. And as I mentioned, they really designed Craft based on the UI and UX of iOS. So a lot of elements, they do feel really intuitive and it's really easy to pick up and there's no learning curve. If you're using iCloud and if you're using Apple devices, you really feel that kind of seamless integration across your devices and it's really easy to pick up where you left off. If I find it easier to type on my computer, I can type on my computer. And if I want to brainstorm something and sketch something, I can go straight to my phone or my iPad. My favorite features about these two apps that the other doesn't have. This is an interesting one because a lot of people ask me which one I prefer, and it's really hard to compare because they set out to do such different things. But when I look at some features that is unique to them, it makes it easier to make a decision. So for Capacities, it has the graph, and the graph is actually what I really love the most about Obsidian. It really provides such a unique perspective on all of your notes because you can see how every single one of your notes connect in Obsidian. But in Capacities, it's slightly different. You can't see the whole workspace as a huge graph. You can only look into one page and its connections and another level of those connections. So maximum of 2, I believe. But nevertheless, seeing the connections between notes is very helpful in making discoveries and making sense of different topics if you're someone who likes to venture into various topics. And my favorite feature in Craft is hands down handwriting because, first of all, I'm an artist. I love making notes. I love making sense of things through visual elements. So making sketches really is the easiest way for me to remember what I thought at that moment. As someone whose mother tongue is Chinese and who used to write a lot of Chinese but now is losing the chances or environment or the occasion to write Chinese, I really love being able to write Chinese in my diary and just practice my handwriting. So that's my favorite feature that Capacities doesn't have. And the next category is what is most desired from me. So in other words, what is the most lacking in this app that I want there to be? So in Capacities, I really want there to be a better mobile app. And I was kind of disappointed when the mobile app was out, not only because it was not yet very polished, it was still in beta, but also because the desktop app is really beautiful and the UI, it is really pleasing to the eye. But I feel like that somehow did not translate really well in the mobile experience. And a lot of the time, some elements come off as really laggy or the logic is a little bit different from what we would be used to as an iOS user. It's still not very perfectly intuitive or smooth. So I would really hope for a better mobile app because that is one of the devices that I spend most of my time on. For Craft, I really want more database features. As we said before, they only have a table view for now for their database features. I know they're definitely going to expand on it, but yeah, they only have a table view for now and it basically is useless for me as a database. And when it comes to opinions of the public and their users, both apps are really involved and they really do listen to their community, and I am in both of their discords, I think, and I have both access to both of their betas. So I have the access to the newest features and I can also give them feedback, and I have actually talked to both companies via email or meeting, and I can really tell both of them really do care about the workflow and how to make their app experience better for their users. Obviously, they all work really hard to integrate features that are highly requested from their community, but at the same time, they are both true to themselves in the way that they are not afraid to say no to some requests that do not align with their vision of what the app should be. So I really applaud them for that, and I really do think they are both really passionate teams that care about their work. And then next we have the consideration of using these apps as a second brain. So first of all, for Capacities, it has a good amount of customization, but it's definitely not as customizable as something like Obsidian or Locksec, where they have a huge user base that just creates their own integrations and plugins. Capacities is all in-house and it's fixed, so there's not as much of a customization options, but it's still more than what we would see from things like Notion or Craft. And Capacities, as I said before, they prioritize personal use and not collaboration or publishing. So if that is a consideration for you, and they also have a good collection of functionalities like queries and AI, but I don't use both of those, so I cannot give you a comment on both of those features. Lastly,
I would like a handwriting feature, please.
And Craft as a second brain app, with their new introduction of tags, it finally makes it feasible for Craft to become a second brain app, because before that I will not consider this a second brain app at all, only a note-taking app. But it also has limited linking functionalities. Like I said before, it doesn't have properties for most of the pages. So unlike Capacities, where you can interlink, bidirectionally link pages together, you cannot really do that in Craft. And you can also not link individual blocks, which is something that I would really like to see. So after all this talking, who is this for? Who are these apps for? For Capacities, I think Capacities is for enthusiastic learners who are motivated to learn and collect notes with a wide range of interests. So if you're interested in a lot of different topics and you collect notes and read books about these topics regularly, this will be really good for you. And you can make use of object types and tags, link them to each other, and also make discoveries according to those connections. And Craft, I think, is for visual creatives who want an everything notebook that is easy and quick to use in your daily life. You can make use of text, sketches, whiteboards, and links to brainstorm and jot down different ideas in a really handy, convenient, frictionless way. And what are the apps for? This is also a really important question. When you look for an app, you really first want to consider what you want, not what this app can do. Capacities, I would consider it to be for a slow-paced information collection. It's definitely not for you to dump 5 to 10 articles from the same topic into the app at once without any processing, because you do need to categorize them and sort them in order for the object-based structure to make sense. You have to be really considerate about each note and where you put it, what you tag it with, what connections do you make with the other notes that are already in your digital garden. It's very much intentional and slow-paced. The ultimate goal is to make connections and discoveries across your fields of interest. And Craft, I would think it is for a commonplace notebook for everyday use. So it is quick, easy, and intuitive. You will have those ideas safely stored on a notebook and not just floating away in your head. And next, what I recommend. For Capacities, definitely yes. I've made multiple videos. Actually, Beth from Capacities did tell me that a lot of their users tell them they discovered Capacities through my videos. So that is really cool that I got to help an amazing app like this expand. And compared to similar apps like Obsidian and Logseq, Capacities feel more modern. There's also less of a learning curve. So it's more like a right out of the box experience for you. But the friction on daily use is also very low. So it's very easy for users to focus on the actual note-taking and annotations and making connections rather than setting up the app to be the perfect experience for yourself, because there's so little friction. And would I recommend Craft? Guys, take a wild guess. I would 100% recommend Craft because it is very nice for daily use. It's such a lightweight app. It's such an easy app to use. It really encourages people to do a brain dump and put everything in your head down to give you that kind of peace of mind and just organize it later. And you can track your to-dos, wish lists, writing diary entries, and it really, as I said, it combines all the best features from Apple Reminders, Apple Notes, Apple Freeform into one app, all in a very aesthetically pleasing, user-friendly kind of place. So I would definitely recommend. And most importantly, the last question, can it replace the other? So can Capacities replace Craft? Can Craft replace Capacities? For Capacities, it can replace Craft if you don't need handwriting, to-do reminders, and a whiteboard. And for Craft, can it replace Capacities? Yes, if you do not need an Android app, a wide selection of properties, and a connection graph. So if you don't need these three, I would say just stick to Craft. As you guys might know, I use both apps at the same time. So you might ask, oh, so many of these functionalities actually overlap. How do you manage them? How do you choose which app to use for what feature? So I will tell you exactly what I use these two apps for. So for Capacities, I use them for long-term notes. So whatever topic that I'm interested in, not my daily notes. So I will not be going in there and talk to my diary, like talking about my love life, like, oh,
oh, today I was ghosted by someone.
I will not be saying any of that in Capacities because those are my long-term notes and these are my learning notes. So I would be making notes on books that I've read, movies that I've seen, some quotes I've seen that I really like, and also my favorite creators, some videos that I really like, news, concepts and definitions. I will put them all there because these are the notes with intention. I really want to connect them together to discover something new, and that's what I use Capacities for. Inversely, craft is what I use for short-term notes. So I write my diary on there. So I will say,
today, traffic was really bad. Someone almost killed me.
I will be saying that in my daily note. And I will also be dumping my daily to-dos. So doing my laundry, throwing out the trash, washing the dogs, I will put it on there because it's just my daily note. And once the day's passed, it's passed. And if I didn't do this, I can delegate to the other day. And the other usage I use it for is brainstorming. So as I said before, I really love just jotting down some nonsense ideas just for things to like come together at the end, visualize things while I'm jotting it down, while I'm writing it down. It doesn't have to be linear, and in fact, it's better if it's not linear. It's better if it's like an infinite canvas where I can put things here and there, draw an arrow across it, make a connection between these two things, bum, 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 put things all over the page. And this is really good in craft because they have a whiteboard feature where I can do that. There's no pressure to sort that kind of note into any folders, to tag it with any tag. You can just do it and then decide what you want to do with it. So the lack of pressure really inspires me to, or gives me more space to jot more things down. There you go, there you have your answer. This is what I use both the apps for. And for both apps, I do have the pro version. Both apps do have a really, really good set of features already in the free plan. If you're on the fence about using either of them, I would just go out and try the free version because there's literally nothing to lose. You can just try it out for free and then see if you need the pro features and see if you want both as pro or if you just want to choose one as pro. So yeah, I gave you a bunch of pros and cons to each app today. So it really is up to you to decide which one is better for you because ultimately I can't make the decision for you because I love both apps. And also, live your life. You know yourself the best. So I can't really make the decision for you, but hopefully my opinion gave you a little bit more clarity what each app is about and whether or not to make the jump from Capacities to Craft or from Craft to Capacities. It's not an easy task to do. And if you're a note-taking person and you constantly jump from app to app, it's really doing a disservice to your own learning and organization. So definitely think clearly about it. And who says you can't have the best of both worlds? I have the best of both worlds right now, and I have been loving my workflow. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them in a future video or in my Instagram stories. So yeah, you're welcome.